In the vast desert land of the hidden sand village, known as Sunagakure, a child was born under extraordinary and tragic circumstances. His name was Gaara, the third child of the fourth Kazekage and his wife Karura. Gaara's life began not with celebration, but with solemn intentions. He was to become a weapon, a vessel, a jinchuriki. From the moment of his birth, Gaara was not seen as a boy, but as the container of the one-tailed beast, Shukaku. His father, seeking a tool to protect the village and assert its strength, ordered that Shukaku be sealed inside his son before he was even born. This decision forever altered the path of Gaara's life. His mother, Karura, loved him dearly, but died in childbirth due to the strain of the sealing ritual. Her last wish was that her son would be protected and cherished. But fate would unfold differently. Gaara grew up isolated, watched constantly, feared by the villagers and even his own siblings. His sand, controlled by Shukaku's power and driven by his subconscious, acted as both shield and weapon. The sand would defend Gaara from harm, sometimes lethally. What should have been a miraculous ability for protection instead became a cause for dread and rejection. His father, seeing the instability and fear Gaara invoked, deemed the experiment a failure. He secretly ordered assassination attempts on his own son, in the hopes of correcting what he saw as a dangerous mistake. One of those attempts was carried out by Gaara's uncle, Yashimaru. Yashimaru had been Gaara's caretaker, one of the few people who had shown him any kindness. When Yashimaru betrayed him, attacking him under the guise of duty, it shattered Gaara's fragile understanding of love and trust. In that moment, Gaara lost the last thread of connection he had with the world around him. Devastated, betrayed, and alone, Gaara came to believe that his existence had no meaning unless it was proven through violence. He embraced the idea that love was a lie, and that only through causing fear and pain could he validate his being. He carved the kanji for love into his forehead as a grim symbol, a self-declared demon who loved only himself. As Gaara entered adolescence, he became a terrifying presence in Sunagakure. His missions often ended in excessive violence. The village elders feared him, yet dared not confront him directly. His siblings, Kankuro and Temari, walked a careful line between family loyalty and self-preservation. Though they feared their brother, they would eventually become his anchors back to humanity. Gaara's first significant appearance on the world stage came during the Chunin exams, a joint event held in Konohagakure, the hidden leaf village. Alongside his siblings, Gaara arrived as a participant, representing the hidden sand. From the very start, his presence disturbed the other competitors. His eyes were hollow, his demeanor unyielding, and his power terrifying. The sand that moved on its own, the eerie calm with which he dispatched enemies. It became clear that Gaara was no ordinary shinobi. During the early rounds of the exam, Gaara displayed overwhelming strength, dispatching opponents without effort or mercy. But beneath the brutal force was a deep void, a child still desperate for meaning and connection. though he no longer believed such things were possible. As the exams progressed, the hidden sand, in secret alliance with the hidden sound, planned an invasion of the leaf. Gaara was to play a central role in the chaos, unleashing Shukaku and wreaking havoc upon Konoha. But something unexpected happened. During his battle with Sasuke Uchiha, and then with Naruto Uzumaki, Gaara encountered something he had never known. Someone who understood his pain. Naruto, like Gaara, was a Jinchuriki. He too had grown up shunned and alone. But unlike Gaara, Naruto had chosen to seek acceptance, to protect others instead of pushing them away. During their battle in the forest, Gaara was overpowered, not just physically, but emotionally. Naruto's unwavering resolve and his desire to protect his friends pierced through Gaara's hatred. The fight ended with Gaara defeated, his body broken, but his heart beginning to awaken. For the first time, he questioned the path he had walked. He saw in Naruto a reflection of what could have been, a life of connection, not destruction. In the aftermath of the failed invasion, Gaara's transformation began. It was not immediate. Years of trauma and mistrust could not be undone overnight. But the seeds were planted. He spoke with his siblings. He began to understand the pain he had caused and the loneliness he had perpetuated. When the time came for him to step into a leadership role, Gaara did so not as a weapon, but as a protector. He was named the 5th Kazekage of the Hidden Sand Village, the youngest person to ever hold the title. His ascension was not met without skepticism, but Gaara proved himself worthy, not through fear, but through action. He modernized the village's relations with others. He built alliances. He spoke with clarity and calm, offering a new vision for Tsunagakure. No longer was he the demon of the desert. He had become a symbol of change and hope. Yet peace was always fleeting in the shinobi world. The Akatsuki, a mysterious organization of rogue ninja, began targeting Jinchuriki. Gaara, being both a Jinchuriki and a Kage, became one of their first targets. Deidara and Sasori of the Akatsuki attacked Tsunagakure and kidnapped Gaara after a brutal battle. Despite his power, Gaara was ultimately defeated due to the enemy's cunning and overwhelming force. They extracted Shukaku from his body, a process that normally results in death. Gaara's life hung by a thread. In a powerful act of unity and respect, the ninja of the leaf, including Naruto, Sakura, and Kakashi, launched a rescue mission. They were joined by members of the Sand, including Gaara's siblings. When Gaara was retrieved, his body lifeless, it was Chiyo, an elder of the Sand, and once a puppet master of great renown, who chose to give her life to bring him back. Her sacrifice was a testament to how far Gaara had come. Once a symbol of fear, he had become someone worth dying for, a leader, a hope for the future. Revived, Gaara awoke to see his village around him, not in fear, but in mourning and relief. They wept for him. They called him Kazekage. In that moment, Gaara truly understood what it meant to be loved and to belong. as the fourth Great Ninja War approached, Gaara took on a critical role. He was named commander of the Allied Shinobi Forces, a coalition of every major village, united for the first time in history. Gaara, once a symbol of isolation, now stood as the face of unity. Before the war began, Gaara delivered a powerful speech to the assembled shinobi. In it, he spoke not just as a leader, but as someone who had walked the path of darkness and come back. He implored them to fight not for themselves, but for one another, to cast aside old grudges and stand as one. In the battlefield, Gaara fought bravely. He faced resurrected enemies, including his own father, the fourth Kazekage. In that emotional encounter, Gaara confronted his past, not with hatred, but with understanding. His father, upon seeing the man his son had become, expressed regret and admiration. It was a healing moment. The scars of Gaara's childhood began to fade. Gaara also played a vital role in the battles against Madara Uchiha and later Kaguya Otsutsuki. His sand manipulation, intelligence, and calm demeanor became pillars of the Allied forces' strength. When the war ended and peace returned, Gaara continued to serve as Kazekage. He grew older, wiser, and more compassionate. He remained close to Naruto, whose own journey from outcast to Hokage mirrored his in many ways. Though Gaara never married, he adopted a child, Shinki, a boy with unique abilities whom Gaara saw potential in. In Shinki, Gaara saw a reflection of his younger self. But this time, he offered the guidance, love, and protection he had once longed for. Through years of hardship, betrayal, and solitude, Gaara found peace. His story is not merely one of redemption, but of transformation. He reminds us that even those born into darkness can choose light. That trauma does not have to define us. That connection can heal even the deepest wounds. As the wind sweeps gently across the dunes of Sunagakure, Gaara stands atop the Kazekage Tower, watching over his people with quiet resolve. The boy who once believed he could only prove his existence through violence now lives to protect others. He is a guardian, a symbol of peace, and above all, a man who learned to love, even when he believed he never could. Gaara's journey into adulthood was marked not by conquest, but by compassion. As Kazekage, he was faced with countless responsibilities, from rebuilding Sunagakure's reputation to protecting his people from the threats that lingered beyond the deserts. Though his childhood had been defined by isolation, Gaara made a conscious effort to stay connected with his siblings. Kankuro, with his brash personality and fierce loyalty, and Temari, with her sharp mind and diplomatic skill, became his closest allies. Together, they guided the hidden sand through a new era. It wasn't always easy, but Gaara led not with an iron fist, but with quiet strength and clear resolve. He frequently collaborated with other villages, particularly Konohagakure. His bond with Naruto remained strong over the years. built not only on shared experiences as jinchuriki, but on mutual respect. They often found themselves at summits and strategic meetings, working together to ensure that the mistakes of the past would not be repeated. Where once their hands had clashed in the forest, now they extended toward peace and unity. The world began to change. The major shinobi nations, once riddled with rivalry, began to cooperate more than they ever had before. Gaara became a symbol of this new unity. His presence alone reassured the leaders of other villages. They knew the man who once carried the one-tailed beast now carried the weight of an entire nation, with grace and with humility. One of the most significant moments in Gaara's later years was his decision to take in Shinki, a powerful young boy with the ability to control iron sand. Shinki, much like Gaara, had been feared and misunderstood because of his powers. He had grown up without a family, seen as dangerous and unfit for normal life. When Gaara first encountered him, he saw not just potential, but a reflection of the pain he once knew so well. Instead of treating Shinki as a weapon or a threat, Gaara took him in as his adoptive son. He offered the boy guidance, understanding, and a place to belong. Under Gaara's care, Shinki began to thrive. The bond between them, though quiet and unspoken at times, ran deep. Gaara ensured that Shinki would never have to experience the same despair he once had. This act alone spoke volumes. Gaara, once consumed by hatred and loneliness, now offered love and shelter to another. The cycle of pain had been broken. In place of fear, there was hope. As the years passed, Gaara continued to serve as Kazekage, but his role gradually evolved. He became not just a political leader, but a spiritual one. His words carried weight. His calm demeanor brought stability. In a world that was still healing from decades of war, Gaara became a constant, a symbol of perseverance. In council meetings, his voice was often the one that urged caution and compassion. He reminded others that violence was not the only answer. He had lived its consequences, and he had emerged from them with a deeper understanding of what peace truly meant. And yet, even in peace, challenges remained. New threats arose, some from within the shinobi world, and others from beyond. Technological advancements began to reshape the way villages operated. Shinobi, once solely dependent on chakra and jutsu, now found themselves adapting to a rapidly evolving world. Gaara, though traditional in many ways, understood the importance of change. He embraced it cautiously, always with the well-being of his people in mind. In one particularly poignant moment, Gaara attended the 5-Cage Summit alongside the new generation of leaders. Though he was one of the youngest Cage ever appointed, he had now become one of the most experienced. The younger leaders looked to him not just for guidance, but for inspiration. He had become the elder statesman, the one who had endured more than most, yet remained unshaken. Through all of this, Gaara never allowed himself to grow arrogant or distant. He continued to walk the streets of his village, He would listen to the concerns of merchants, of students, of shinobi returning from missions. He maintained a presence among his people. To them, he was not just a leader sitting in a tower. He was someone who had shared in their struggles. The transformation of Gaara's identity from a feared Jinchuriki to a beloved Kazekage was profound. But it was also a testament to the power of human will, of empathy, and of second chances. Gaara had been given the opportunity to change. He had seized it. And in doing so, he offered hope to everyone who believed they were beyond redemption. The scars on his body remained, as did the kanji carved into his forehead, but they no longer symbolized hatred. They stood as a reminder of how far he had come. What was once a symbol of his love for only himself had become an emblem of his love for others. He would often be seen standing alone atop the Kazekage's office, watching the desert stretch out into the horizon. The wind would carry the sound of life from the village. Laughter, conversation, the rustling of clothes drying in the sun. These sounds, once foreign and distant to him, had become familiar and comforting. In those quiet moments, Gaara would reflect, not on the battles he had fought, but on the ones he no longer had to. He thought of Naruto, of his siblings, of Shinki, of the people he now called his family. And in the stillness, there was peace. Though the future remained uncertain, Gaara faced it not with fear, but with the calm certainty of a man who had already faced the worst the world could offer, and emerged stronger, softer, and more complete. The boy who had once asked why he existed no longer needed an answer. He had become that answer himself. And so, beneath the stars that lit the vast desert sky, Gaara of the Sand slept peacefully, no longer haunted by demons, no longer alone, just a man, at last, at peace with the world and with himself.